Okay, hello, my name is Brad. I'm going to explain to you how to use manual mode. People refer to it as the exposure triangle. I'm going to do it in a manner that's going to make it so easy for you to really understand. At the end of the day, the goal is to get enough light to take a good picture. The camera gives you three different ways of getting more light. If there's one main concept that you need to understand, and that is the camera will give you light, but it's going to take something away. I always like to say that there's a price to pay for your light. So, options. We've got three. The very first is changing your camera's aperture setting, or f-stop. What that basically is, you got a camera lens and it's got an opening. This is the aperture, the hole. All right? And if the hole is smaller, obviously there's less light coming in, right? If it's bigger, there's more light coming in. Now, to make things a little confusing, they reverse the size. So when there's a lot of light, the number is really small. So if there's a camera that's got like a 1.2, that's a lot of light, and those cameras are also expensive. A little less light, okay, that's a 2.8. Those are also the expensive lenses. All right, and then f4, f6, f8, f16, f22. Now we're getting really small. This is kind of no light. So basically, easy. You want more light, you open up your aperture, which is by making the number lower on your camera, as low as you can go. But now you know from my lesson that there's a price to pay. What's the price to pay? The price is depth of field, or lack thereof. In other words, if you're focusing on something here, the stuff in the back's gonna be out of focus. Okay? So you want more light, I'll give you more light with your open aperture, but I'm not going to allow you to have stuff in the back in focus. That may be good, that may be bad, and this is what the creative parts of photography are all about. The second reason, or second way that you can get more light, is by changing what's called the ISO. I honestly been a photographer for 22 years, and I could have Googled it, but I have no idea what ISO even means. But basically, it's the camera's sensitivity to light. It kind of enhances it. You ever wake up in the middle of the night and go to the refrigerator, and you kind of open up the refrigerator, and the light, it's so bright, right? It's really not that bright normally, but we're like extra sensitive to it. So you can kind of think of that, it's like it feels more intense than it actually is. You can think of your camera's ISO like that. So on a really low setting, you would have an ISO of 100. 200 is also kind of pretty low. 300, 400, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000, 10,000, 50, 20,000. You can pump that number up. You need more light, the number goes higher. So normally you try to keep it as low as you possibly can, but you need more light, you just bring that number up. So you know there's a price to pay for that light. So the price to give you more light through ISO, it's gonna give the photo a more grain. Noise, really. Grain would be the term you'd use in the film days. It's really noise. The little dots, when a picture's riddled with the little speckles of dots, that's the price to pay. And sometimes you have to pay that price. But again, we know, okay, we're creative. We might not want to pay that price, so we'll go somewhere else. The third way is your shutter speed. Okay, shutter speed, you can think of, here's the lens and there's a shutter behind it. Okay, I'm really kind of just, this is for demonstration purposes or for analogy purposes. So when you press the camera, you go click. What's happening is, not really, but we'll just for argument's sake, we're gonna go, we're gonna get some light in, and we're done. Okay. Normally it's always 99% of the time. We're talking fractions of a second. Okay. So I normally for the work that I do, primarily I'm shooting at 160th of a second, something like that. All right. If you're at 80th of a second, all right, it's going to be a lot slower. 60th of a second, it's going to be even slower. A whole second, that's a boatload of light. All right, so and if you're on a beach on a really hot summer's day and it's bright and blasting, you're going to want it really fast, right? So you're going to want maybe 5, 1,000th, 2,000, 3,000. So you don't want it. So you now know there's a price to pay. The price to pay for a slow shutter speed is going to be anything that could potentially move might be blurry. Okay? So, for you, how about you, the photographer? When you even just press click, all right, that's a little movement, all right, that's movement that could be blurry. All right, when you have to hold the camera, let's say you need it's really dark and you press it and you're holding it, even though you're holding it rock steady and there's a proper way to hold the camera, learn about it, there still might be movement. Or the subject, let's say the subject's moving, all right? You're photographing a dance party, all right, or a wedding, all right, blah, blah, blah. You're going to get the person that's moving blurry. So there's a price to pay. So learning these three things, it's really easy. You just have to determine what's the price to pay. Am I willing to pay the price? Do I care about noise? The good thing about the noise with the ISO, you can kind of fix it in the software. We can denoise a lot. So that's it for now. I'm going to now in the next video, go back to it, I'll give you more examples of why you would do one over the other. All right, my name is Brad. This is Shoot for the Money. Professional photographer for 22 years. I shoot mostly corporate headshots, but I've shot everything, okay? Hope that helps. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. All right, thanks. Speak to you soon, hopefully.